So Michael Popok, Legal AF, Elise Stefanik said the quiet part out loud about Donald Trump and fascism. She's just filed a new judicial complaint. She's at it again, going after federal judges, in this case, the former chief judge of the Federal District of Columbia Court, Beryl Howell, because she doesn't like what Beryl Howell said 2 weeks ago at a gala in which she was an honoree related to women defense lawyers, criminal defense lawyers. And she didn't like that. Now, I reported on that particular speech, which was a powerful indictment of where this country is as it teeters on the brink of fascism and authoritarianism. She never mentioned, Judge Howell never mentioned Donald Trump by name, but we know her words were powerful. Let me play you a clip first so you can get caught up on the speech, and then I'll turn on this hot take to what Elise Stefanik has done about that speech in attacking the ethics, integrity, and credibility of one of the finest judges on the D.C. court. Let's play my clip of the hot take to catch you up. We'll come back and talk about it next. Judge Beryl Howell has a stark warning for America in a rare public appearance. She said that big lies, such as those perpetrated by Donald Trump and his followers, are springboards for authoritarians. And she is warning America that those that attacked democracy still lurk, and the threat against democracy still exists. It's one thing for political commentators, legal commentators, to sound the clarion call. It's another when the former chief judge, who was the chief judge of the D.C. bench from 2016 all the way through March of 2023, who handled all of the subpoenas and search warrants at the grand jury level involving the Jan 6 insurrectionists and the Department of Justice, and then Jack Smith's search for the truth, and to go after Donald Trump, when she comes out and says it, and with fellow honorees at a gala for the Women's White Collar Defense Bar, you got to listen. You got to listen to big lies that she observed being the springboard for authoritarians, and that is what she is worried about. She went on to say during this speech, and off on the same dais with her was Lisa Monaco, the Deputy Attorney General, the number 2 under Merrick Garland, who is also receiving an award. And I'm sure these words resonated with her as her department continues to seek the truth and administer justice in this country through our system. She said, Judge Beryl Howell said again at this same gala this week, we are having a very surprising and downright troubling moment in this country when the very importance of facts is dismissed or ignored. That's a very risky business for all of us in our democracy. The facts matter. Okay, so that was a report that I did 2 weeks ago. I wasn't anticipating that Elise Stefanik was going to get around to filing a judicial complaint against that particular judge. But just to set the stage here, you got Lisa Monaco, who's the Deputy Attorney General of the United States. She's the number 2 under Merrick Garland. She's there as well. There's other people. And look, I've been to these galas before for judges. They say amazing things about the honoree and the judge in introduction. The judge takes the podium. They're allowed to do this while they're still on the bench. They normally get clearance, ethics clearance and guidance from an ethicist that works for the court. I'm sure she did, about what the event was about. Federal judges often appear at these events. Supreme Court justices often appear at these events. Supreme Court justices often give speeches and make remarks, including overseas, like Sam Alito, in which he talked about, for instance, overturning Roe v. Wade in the Dobbs decision. It happens. It is appropriate as long as it doesn't cross the line. The line that Elise Stefanik is claiming in her indictment of her bar complaint, her judicial complaint against the judge, is that she has violated a particular rule of judicial conduct. But when you hear the rule, you'll know automatically that that didn't happen. She says that under the rule, a sitting judge which is canon 2B, not sort of like to be or not to be of the judicial canons, says, quote, a judge should neither lend the prestige of the judicial office to advance the private interest of the judge or others, nor convey or permit others to convey the impression that they are in a special position to influence the judge. What she didn't like, Stefanik, is that there was a lot of laudatory comments on the way in. Beryl Howell steered the court through a very trying period and trying to process all of the Jan 6th cases and to handle the grand jury proceedings. And she did it with her normal flinty, steely, high integrity, high character. And here she is for her speech. I mean, that's it. I mean, well, what did Elise Stefanik want her to say? I don't know. This person just wandered in with a black robe. It could be Beryl Howell. I'm not sure. We're going to give her, some sort of plaque or trophy. I don't know. Here she is. Is that the introduction? I mean, come on. You're allowed to read from the person's resume. You're allowed to be tethered to reality and introduce the person on the body of work that they've already performed. Miss Stefanik, Congresswoman Stefanik, the Honorable Congresswoman Stefanik. And by the way, when you address a judge, because she wrote the letter that she has to the judge on the Court of Appeals, which is the boss, D.C. Court of Appeals, the boss for Beryl Howell and all the other judges. And the chief judge there is somebody that's on Biden's short list for the Supreme Court, which is Shri Srinivasan. And she wrote, "Dear Chief Judge Shri Srinivasan," it's Your Honor. You write Your Honor. Judges are not dears. Okay? I learned that first year out of law school, Elise. It's Your Honor, and then respectfully submitted. And so she went off. It was just really we'll put up a picture of the letter. It was really just a PR stunt by Elise Stefanik because she doesn't like who was in the audience and who was on the dais. And she's trying to argue that because they were fawningly so nice to the judge and being honored, that they're giving the impression that that they're currying favor with her, or there's some sort of special relationship. The problem is that Beryl Howell didn't get up and start patting them on the back. Oh, my close. It would be different if she got up and said, "My close friend, Lisa Monaco. She and I travel together. She and I and our families are close. And I was at her baptism," or, something like that. But she just got up and gave her speech after being introduced. So there's no way on God's green earth under Judicial Canon 2B, an introduction of a judge or her participation in the Women of All Partisan Ilk, Women Criminal Defense Bar Gala, okay, is just a bunch of Democrats backslapping in smoke-filled rooms. They're celebrating their close relationship with the chief judge or the then chief judge. I mean, anybody that attended that would understand it. What Elise Stefanik doesn't like is that the judge expressed an opinion about this country teetering on the brink of totalitarianism and authoritarianism where facts don't matter, as you heard in my clip. That was the gist of the speech. There's not even a video or audio of the speech for me to play for you, so I have to give you the reporting for those that were in the room. But that's okay. Judges do it all the time. Supreme Court justices do it all the time. And there's no limits on that as long as they're not commenting on a case that's before them. A future case that's before them, who knows? And she's not the current chief judge. She's not currently supervising the grand juries in the District of Columbia against Donald Trump. That has fallen to the new chief judge, Jeb Boasberg. And she's just one of many judges. Now, you might be thinking, Beryl Howell, she sounds familiar. Yes, she's the judge that's also presiding over the Rudy Giuliani defamation case we're about to get a jury verdict on. I'm sure it's going to be 30, 40, 50 million plus or higher in favor of the terribly defamed and doxxed and injured and damaged Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman, mother-daughter team out of Georgia, former election workers who were accused of voter fraud. And then the Trump MAGA went after them, with zeal and relentlessly and turned their lives upside down. Same judge. She's the same judge that found Rudy Giuliani had defaulted and found that what his statements made were defamatory, and therefore as a sanction, and she sanctioned him 6 times for misconduct, and with more to come, including the jury instructions. That's the Beryl Howell that we're talking about. That's the flinty, steely, professional, rock-solid judge that was being complimented on the way into giving her speech. I got news for Elise Stefanik. Judges operate in the real world. Judges have eyes and ears and can observe, and they're allowed to make a statement about where they think this country is, because if they don't do it, who's going to do it? That clarion call has to be signaled by somebody, because everybody on the MAGA side thinks everything's just fine with Donald Trump saying he's going to be a dictator on day one. He's going to dump all the lawyers in the Department of Justice. He's going to hollow out all of the guardrails of democracy and replace them with sycophants that owe that bootlick for him to make sure he can accomplish everything that he wants to accomplish if we ever have the restoration of the Trump presidency. So we'll continue to follow what I'm sure is going to be a non-story. I mean, the chief judge is going to have to take it seriously. He'll have to open up an investigation. He'll have to put an investigator on it, and they will get a copy of the tape or the transcript if one exists, or a video. I'm sure the organization has a video of this, and they will review it, and they'll compare and contrast it to the rules and the guidance around the rules. I'm sure they will learn that the judge, prior to taking the speaking engagement or being honored, ran it by the ethics office and got a clearance on it. They may have even checked her speech notes and gave her clearance on that, because there's nothing that violates any of the judicial canons there at all. And the fact that there were other people in the room that might have been Democrats and that they were nice to her while she was being feted, this doesn't, as one judge once said to an adversary of mine after they breathlessly came in with some amazing piece of evidence that they thought was going to be case dispositive and rock our world, the judge waited patiently and said, "Tell me this is not your entire case. Tell me you have other evidence to support your position." It's going to sort of be like that. Tell me you have more. That's it. The speech, the introduction, the fact that there were people on the dais that knew her. Move on. If I were the judge, I would file a bar complaint against. I'm not sure if Stefanik is a lawyer. I thought she was. I'd file a bar complaint against Elise Stefanik if she's a lawyer for making improper accusations against a sitting judge. But we'll follow that on the MeidasTouch network. It's the only place we do this, at the intersection of law, politics, and justice. You like lawyers talking about things they know what they're talking about? Come here. Legal AF, full-length podcast. Wednesdays, Saturdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the MeidasTouch network. Free subscribe. Get them to 2 million free subscribers. It really helps. Helps me if you leave me a thumbs up and a comment. Helps keep me on the air. The ratings. Up, up, up. Till my next hot take. Till my next Legal AF. This is Michael Popok reporting.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.